Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill here in Denham Springs. Welcome to the Monday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott. Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Glad to have you with us today after the holiday weekend. Jimmy, how was your Easter?
Good, man. Good Easter. How about you?
Yeah, terrific Easter. Getting together with the family, boiling some crawfish.
This was a Thibodeau store, Pierre Part store type of weekend. You either boiling crawfish or outdoor grilling, huh? Or both. I mean, it was a great weekend. Of course, we remind everybody that this weekend makes up for half of the crawfish sales of the entire season.
Does it really? I didn't realize it had
the Holy Weekend, Easter weekend, and so it's a lot of. You could just drive around town and see people outdoor with the crawfish boils and. Outdoor grill had the great big green egg going on with the 24-hour marinated wings and the steaks and the shish kebabs. You talk about good stuff.
I want to give my brother props. Okay, he came up with an idea. We had about a dozen kids under the age of say 9, and after they did the little egg hunt, Easter egg hunt, he got one of those bouncy house things that had a water slide attached to it. That was genius. Okay,
yeah, keeps them occupied.
That was worth the money. That was. I said I got to hand it to you, Sam. That was pretty smart. Kids had a great time, and so did we. It was a fantastic afternoon. So really enjoyed that. Hope everybody had a good holiday weekend. We got good weather. Mac's out today, but he'll be back with us tomorrow. And it was a big. I'll tell you, I got a chance to watch a lot of not just LSU baseball, but Southeastern Conference baseball this weekend, and LSU takes 203 from Alabama, but just to give you an idea of just how competitive this league is, the top 6 in the RPI are all SEC teams. 7 of the top 9 and 8 of the top 12 are all in the Southeastern Conference. Tennessee, and just to give you an idea of the balance, Tennessee, defending national champion. They did drop out of the top 10 in the RPI this week, but they just lost their second consecutive home series. Georgia's the number 1 RPI team in the country. They just got swept for the second time in 3 weeks. Auburn, who swept LSU last weekend, went to Texas and got swept. And Arkansas, who's got an RPI in the top 5, has lost their last 2 series. So I know Texas is 16-2, but the rest of this log jam up at the top, it's literally anybody's baseball race here with 4 weeks to go in the season. We're talking mostly not necessarily about the conference championship as much as we're talking about host sites and top 8 national seeds, and it is very, very competitive in that regard.
Top 6 in the RPI for the SEC.
All 6 of them.
I mean, 6 in a row.
For instance, Auburn is a top 5 RPI right now. They're number 4. They're 9-9 in the league. Okay, Alabama's a top 10 RPI team. They're 9-9 in the league.
Well, Auburn sweeps LSU and
goes to Texas and gets swept.
Oh, they got okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. Who beat Kentucky? Beat Georgia.
Kentucky beat Tennessee.
Oh no, I'm
sorry. Two out of 3 which was a big surprise to me. And Georgia was swept at Vandy, who is really starting to come on. Vandy has, how many is it in a row now? I think it's like 6 or 7 in a row now that they won. 5 in a row and 10 out of 12. They're coming off 2 sweeps in their last 3. They did lose the series at Oklahoma, but they beat Georgia, and then they won that series at Florida.
And Florida out of nowhere had their streak snapped last night. Against Mississippi State.
They did. That was a very high-scoring game. Went up the ladder a little bit. I watched a lot of that game yesterday. pitching matchup suggested it would be a high-scoring game, and it was, and State was able to get the last game in that series. So, LSU is they're where they want to be. They're not perfect. There are some things that concern you, but I watched them at Texas. I watched every pitch in that series, and they were in no way at a talent deficit to Texas. They won the first game fairly handily. Texas won the third game fairly handily, and the second game of the series was really competitive. LSU got away from them late. But if Texas is the best team in the league, there's 6 or 7 teams that are right there on top of them that could easily beat them in any given weekend. What do you like about LSU? The same thing that I've been saying for several weeks now, which is the strength of this team. The absolute number one strength of this team lies in the two-headed monster out of the bullpen, in Zach Cowan and Kason Evans. And on Thursday night, the first game of the series, it was Evans who gave them the bridge to the end when they finally opened up the lead. They got him out thinking they might be able to bring him back on Saturday. They woke up on Saturday, and whatever Jay Johnson talked to him about, realized, nope, can't bring him back today. So you saw what they had to do. They had to kind of piece it together, and the bullpen ended up walking 10 guys. Cowan, who had to come in and finish on Thursday night, came in and pitched the last 3 innings on Friday and held it for a one-run win. They needed every bit of it. He finally gave up a couple earned runs, shot his ERA all the way up to 1.21. I wouldn't touch those guys. There's going to be some talk, I know, in the next few weeks about a third starter, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But the one thing they got that is working, that in 25 of their 34 wins, one or both of these guys has pitched. This is I don't remember LSU ever having 2 guys that were multi-inning guys out of the bullpen that you've been able to trust for this long a stretch. We've seen guys go on runs before, but this is the absolute biggest strength that you have, and I wouldn't fool with it. I liked most of what I saw to Anthony Ianson on Saturday. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's a 5 or 6 inning guy. He's going to miss a lot of bats. The walk totals are getting up there a little bit. That's a touch concerning. But by and large, as a number 2 starter, he's fine. I know that Anderson gave up the 4 homers on Thursday night, but by and large, he struck out 12, didn't walk anybody. So by and large, I think he's fine. So you got all of that. And you're hitting enough, you're not scoring enough runs. You got 32 hits this weekend. You only scored 14 runs. So I'd like to see the offense pick up a little bit, but compared to what they did at Auburn versus what they did against Alabama, at least you got, the hits are coming up. Chris Stanfield had another really good weekend. He was 4 for 4 in the game on Friday night. He is LSU's leading hitter in conference play by close to 50 points. So there's been the question, do you move him up in the lineup? For now, I wouldn't. There's a lot of difference, Jimmy, you know this, hitting in the 9-hole versus hitting up near the top of the order. There's more of a focus from the pitchers. It's just different. Might work. Might be something you do later on, but I love a 9-hole hitter that gives you essentially a second leadoff hitter. So again, kind of like the bullpen guys, if it's working, I'm not moving that. Jared Jones is fighting it really, really tough right now. I don't know why. I don't know what you do about that. They've shook up the top of the order a little bit. Maybe it's just something he's got to work his way out of, but he's chasing a lot of pitches up in the zone, and the strikeouts are starting to pile up. I think Jones is a good hitter. I think he'll eventually come out of it. You like to see that happen sooner than later. And then what are you going to do about the Sunday start? So last week on the podcast, we talked about potentially using Chase Shores as an opener. Let him go one time through the order, maybe a time and a half, and then get him out of the game. Well, Jay Johnson tried something a little bit different than that on Saturday. He used an opener in front of Shores. And Connor Ware, they had 5 lefties up at the top of the order. Did a decent job. He went his 2 innings. He did give up 1 run, and then he handed it over to Shores. And Shores, for I think the 4th time in 5 weekends, did not pitch well. And it's officially a cause for concern. I don't I don't know what the velocity is there. It's 98, 99, but he's just flat out getting hit. And you can keep running him out there. I think you're going to have to use him somewhere. But are you going to put him back in that rotation, or are you going to look somewhere else? And it doesn't get any easier because you got Tennessee coming in this weekend, and then you got to go to a suddenly hot Texas A&M team. That's an issue. The bullpen outside of Evans and Cowan is a mixed bag. Sometimes good, sometimes not. Liked what I saw to Cooper Williams this weekend. Liked what I saw to Jaden Newt this weekend. Did not like what I saw to William Schmidt this weekend. When they put him in SEC games, he's just struggled of late. And again, command is a problem. Did like what I saw to Maverick Rizzi. He'd probably be one of those guys I'd be looking at to maybe take a little bit bigger role. So LSU's where they need to be. As long as you stay in that top 8 in the RPIs and you stay in the top 4 in the league, you're a top 8 national seed, and they've got enough to get them deep in the postseason. Are they good enough to win the whole thing? Somebody else is going to have to step up, and that's been the case for LSU's national championship teams all the time. Somebody's got to step up in a key moment. In 2023, it was Griffin Herring. It was Riley Cooper. It was Nate Ackenhausen. In 2009, it was Chad Jones. It was Paul Bertesini. I'm talking about outside of your main guys. Somebody else has got to step up. In 2000, it was Trey Hodges. They're going to have one or two of these pitchers step up and pitch some meaningful innings in the postseason. How are they going to do? Who could tell? But they're all talented enough. So that's kind of my theme is LSU's got enough to make a very, very deep run in this thing. Are they going to get the key hits at the right time? You have somebody step up out of the bullpen? Or as a third starter? I can't tell you that for sure. You got a chance to watch a little bit this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, you're in position for a sweep and kind of didn't really threaten in Game 3. It's kind of a handle. But you won the swing game, the biggest 50-50 game. Now, Game 2, Alabama had some scoring opportunities. They couldn't get that timely hit. But it was a come from behind win on Thursday night. And then we had a chance to talk about that on Friday. So 2 out of 3 is kind of when you look back at this series. If you played it again, wouldn't you predict that?
Yeah.
This kind of fell the way it should have fallen.
Alabama's got a nice team. That's a good team.
The 2 or 3 guys, especially the 2, can really play. And
their 2, 3, 4 guys are all. LeBron is. LeBron, I know we talked about his odds for the Golden Spikes, but Snell and Bonamolo actually had better weekends than he did.
Snell's had a better season.
Yeah.
Significantly better than coming in.
In league play, Bonamolo has too. He's hitting about 30 points higher than LeBron is. But that 2, 3, 4 is legit. Mm-hmm. They're very good.
Really good. It's a startup program. With the young coach who came in as advertised with a little piss and vinegar in him. He lived up to his scouting report, and it's just kind of what you fighting, you battling, and for trying to get up with so many of these established programs in the SEC. So we've seen SEC dominance. The top 6 for none of the ACC, no outsiders. To be in the top 6 in the RPI right now is still rare. And you look at the rest of the top 10, now the 7 to 10, the ACC has 3 of those 4. And Clemson, which was advertised as, they thought, year 3 of Bakich at Clemson. Mm-hmm. They was maybe a year or 2 ahead of schedule in the first 2 years, but no, really with expectations this year in Clemson, and they're living up to it. And Alabama is the 4th team, the non-ACC team, and that's 7 to 10. And then you got the first non-SEC or ACC team at Oregon State at 11. It's just those games at Mississippi State and Florida were wild, man, all weekend. She's back and forth. No lead was safe. That looked like deep into regional play type of pitching in that game. And all of a sudden Florida's just singing the same tune that they did last year. Their RPI is well deserving of an automatic bid, but are they going to get it with their conference record? So I think that they will. I think they've done enough in the last 2 weeks to put them in good position. So, and then Missouri, who got ruled the whole series for the second time this year. They got ruled all 3 games in their earlier series against Arkansas. This time, Oklahoma, that's not nearly the credentials as the Arkansas Razorbacks. They did it on the road, and this you keep. Oh well, it's baseball. They're going to win a few games. It's going to average out. It's getting ugly. The last ones that they go to Tuscaloosa this week. They host Georgia, to College Station, and then host Mississippi State. Those teams, Georgia's got the biggest cushion of those teams without a doubt. But the other teams need wins. Alabama wants to host. State wants to get in. Those teams in A&M, they're hot. They're playing the best ball that they have. This 1-29, that might be the over/under, Charlie. A 1.
I talked to a coach outside of LSU yesterday for a brief moment, and his team has played them. 0-30's on the table. I mean, the baseball guy in me says, "Come on, they're going to find one," and they probably.
I would bet over a half.
Yeah,
I would bet over a half, but it's got a
20,
shot.
Yeah, it's 0-30 is a possibility. 1-29 probably the chalk. They do not have a pitcher that has thrown more than 1 inning in SEC play that has an ERA less than 7. Okay, not a 1. Their top guy's got 6.98. Okay, I've never seen a team quite that overmatched in league
It's getting worse.
Yeah,
it's getting worse, and because the pitching is just, what do you do? He's trying to throw out guys to get out. Well, these guys who were mediocre at first, now they're worn down.
Yeah,
and it's that whole operation. Thursday, Friday. All right, hey, Easter weekend. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We suck. Can we play both on Friday and start our holiday weekend early? It all but reeked that they got the players your brother's bouncy in the water slip and slide for Saturday. It was like, let's just get this over with. And that's kind of where they are as well. When one thing goes wrong too, you talk about open the floodgates. There's just no fight and no grit to try and come in. They're just expecting it to happen, as opposed where this deep into this losing streak, it's the mental part, and you're just waiting for things. The first thing, well, if you play enough, the chances of something negative happen when you have an inferior roster or such a bad run. It is ugly, and it's been a long, long time since we've always said that Missouri's kind of like don't belong in the SEC. Well, their commitment to their baseball team shows it right now.
They're as overmatched as any team I've ever seen in the league. It's not a matter of bad luck or you lose some close games or you got a slew of injuries. They're just completely overmatched.
And do we have a basketball? Is Mississippi State in right now? I think Florida's in.
The
other 14 ahead of them. The other 12 ahead of them are in. It's Florida and Mississippi State.
Yeah, Mississippi State probably be right on the bubble now.
Okay, so guess what? Yeah. Well, they had some bubble teams in the basketball.
Yeah,
you're looking at 14 to 16.
Right. And A&M is coming on. Their RPI suggests bubble, but I think they're good enough. They're going to get in. You bring a good point up. It's not just that Missouri's a bad team. They're like South Carolina and LSU were in basketball. You're a bad team in a great league. Okay, It's a bad place to be a bad team. We're here at Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill. Always something going on at Big Mike's. The Honky Tonk Playboys coming in this weekend. They do trivia on Monday night, so there's always a theme to the trivia. Next week it'll be family Feud trivia style. Live music every weekend here at Big Mike's, as well as one of the best happy hours you're ever going to find from 3 till 7 Monday through Friday and all day on Sunday. It means $2.50 domestic beer, both bottle and drab, $4 wells and $4 wines. It's all 5 days plus on Sunday if you want to come out and watch the baseball, watch the golf. Lots of opportunities, and of course great food here. Very involved in the Denham Springs community. Very involved in the high school sports here. They're always open late after high school football games. Come on over. Your private parties, your gatherings. You've got multiple size rooms here at Big Mike. So I invite you to come out. See us for lunch today here in the bar area, where wall-to-wall TV is always a great place to watch a game at Big Mike's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Big Mike's. Remind you, get the show on demand, LouisianaSports.net or 1045ESPN.com. We'll have a new Handycast on LSU baseball posted this afternoon. Doug Thompson and Dan Canterbury join me on that. And the SEC dominance, we talked about the numbers in the RPIs. This is going to really stretch the committee a little bit as to how many teams are hosting, how many teams are national seeds, how many teams are in the field altogether. 14 is the number right now to get in. Everybody but South Carolina and Missouri. I would say you're looking at no fewer than 5 national seeds and probably 6. And I would say you're looking at no fewer than 8 and maybe 9 host sites when you get
I'd
to
say
selection.
Mississippi State's your last team in, and they put themselves squarely in that bubble, losing 2 out of 3 against Florida at home.
Yeah, that's a good example. They're an RPI 43, and they are 6-12 in the league. I'll tell you what. One of the things that they got going for them is Missouri's still on the schedule. They go to Missouri the final week to end the season, so they've got a chance there. None of these games are easy, but you've got Kentucky, who is okay, and certainly proved that they're capable by going to Tennessee and winning this weekend. But they're not at the top of the league. They get Missouri. They get Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss is good. They did lose the series against South Carolina this weekend. South Carolina won their first series of the year, beating Ole Miss 2 out of 3. So, and then they get Florida, they just played Florida. They get Auburn this weekend, so that's tough to go to the Plains. But there's an opportunity for them to, I think, to play themselves in. And then the next team is A&M. They're in. They're in by, I think, with some cushion to spare, even though they're 8-10 in the league. They have series wins at Arkansas and at Tennessee.
Boom.
That's plenty. The thing is, the ACC is fine. It's a good year in the league. The Big 12 is way down. They don't have a team inside the top 15. I don't know that they're going to get more than about 4 or 5 teams in the in the tournament.
Last week, the Baseball America had
TCU is probably the best team in that league. Jeez. Maybe West Virginia.
They had 6 for the Big 12.
6? Okay. West Virginia, TCU. I keep forgetting Arizona's. That's who I forgot. Arizona's in the Big 12, Jim.
And Arizona State.
Yeah. One of these days I'll remember
BYU?
that Arizona's
BYU one of those 12? You got West Virginia as a 2 seed. You got Arizona as a 2 seed.
I would say BYU's on the outside looking in.
TCU's a 1.
Yeah, TCU's probably the best team in that league. Them or West Virginia, I would say. BYU's on the outside looking in. They're 6-12 in the league and 19-18 overall. Their RPI's outside the top 50. I would say no right now on BYU. They would.
Kansas is a 2 seed.
Kansas is in. Yeah, Kansas got room to spare. They're pretty good. They're 31-10 right now.
Arizona State's a 2 seed, Kansas State's a 3.
I would say that the ACC is going to get probably 4 host sites. Clemson, North Carolina, Florida State, Louisville, maybe.
Last week's Baseball America, we're still waiting for the update this week, so after the holiday weekend. But you're saying who now? The ACC?
I would say 4 teams right now. Clemson, North Carolina, and Florida State for sure, and Louisville's kind of on the bubble.
Chapel Hill, Clemson, Tallahassee is who they had last week.
Yeah, Louisville probably need a little work, little work to do to get in as a host.
Right. Okay.
And Oregon State, who's playing, is
wait,
going to be a host too.
Georgia Tech.
No,
we didn't mention Georgia Tech. We mentioned Chapel Hill, Clemson, Tallahassee.
Georgia Tech's RPI is 27, and they're saying that they would be a host.
They have them as last week. What did they do this past weekend?
Georgia Tech this past weekend won 0 games. They lost all 3 at Miami.
They're out then.
Yeah, as a host.
They were 13 last week as their overall seed.
As a host. And Oregon State, who is forced to play this year, a powerhouse program off the West Coast, is forced to play as an independent this year. So they've been playing some of these teams out west that are just awful. Cal State Fullerton, who for years was the standard bearer out there, is on RPI 165. They played them. They played Cal Northridge, who's not any good. Now they do play Oregon this weekend, so they got a chance. There. But they're picking up. Long Beach State, who for years was a really good program, is not this year. They have a losing overall record at 15 and 21. So they've had to pick up what they can. To their credit, they played a pretty vigorous non-conference or pre-conference schedule before everybody got into conference play. They played Oklahoma, they played Auburn, they played Baylor, they played Virginia. So they tried. God bless them, but just a little tough to find that many non-conference when you're playing as a baseball independent.
Follow the money. I mean,
they tried. The Big Ten said no thanks.
No, I'm talking about Long Beach State and Cal State.
Oh
too. We saw that coming in Oregon State. I mean, is that going to be every other sport? With who's got the?
Can you be the Gonzaga of college baseball?
It's going to be Major League Baseball. It's you can have a chance for a team that with a smaller budget will beat you occasionally, but for the most part, I mean, you got a lot more misses in you when you've got the budget that the bigger programs have, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, or anything else in college sports. That I don't think it was just an outlier this past year in March Madness where the mid-majors got it handed to them pretty good. Don't forget our friends over at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings, 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional service is what you get when you call 296-0060. A great team at Legacy Title. Ashley Bonham-Donald, Mariana Broussard-Haynes, Adrian Reescalata, Michael Platt, Natalie, and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, or financing, nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Big Mike's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Cooper Flagg puts himself into the NBA draft. He'll be the number 1 pick for whatever team wins the lottery next month. Get your Pelicans ping pong balls while they're still available. Joe Dumars' opening press conference tomorrow, and on Wednesday, be a busy week in the building. Mickey Loomis is talking on Wednesday. That should be interesting. Can't wait to see what he says. But Flagg put himself in the NBA draft where he'll be the number 1 pick. You watched more basketball than I did this weekend. I saw bits and pieces of most of the games, but I didn't sit through all of them. I guess the big story everybody's talking about is the Lakers getting drilled the way they did late Saturday night. The game of the weekend was Clippers Nuggets, or at least that's what it appeared from my
Knicks Pistons too.
Knicks Pistons was
down 8 in the fourth quarter. You go on a 21-0 run.
Yeah, I saw the 21-0 run on the highlights. That Nuggets Clippers series, the favorite flipped from when it was posted to when it actually tipped in the game. In overtime, it was terrific. The Nuggets won there. The Lakers got blown out yesterday. I couldn't help but text you and Max. The Grizzlies after the but 2/3 of the way through the second quarter were down 32 or 34.
Man, it was 50-something.
They lose by 51. That was.
I mean, like 62-25. I mean, like just.
You had more bad games than good ones this weekend. Sometimes
the earlier series can be more eventful, more competitive, some more drama. But the East, how are you going to keep Boston and Cleveland from playing each other? I mean, you think the Knicks can play with Cleveland?
No, I do not.
I don't. The Pacers going to play with the Celtics? No. I mean, it just. I don't see how that's. It's going to be tough, to keep those teams. I'm sorry. I think the Knicks will be matched up with the Celtics, and the Cavaliers will be matched up with the Pacers. So, but it's. I just don't see. I wanted to see the two teams. We talk about, Charlie, the regular season. Okay, it's completely different from the postseason. I wanted to see two teams. Cleveland's gaudy #1 overall seed in the East, how they portrayed, and the #2 record in the West, the Houston Rockets, and completely different. Now, they're playing completely different calibers of competition, also, But I got to tell you, the Cleveland looks so bad. Though in the West is deeper. There's no doubt. You got nobody like a 7 seed Golden State. With it's an aging Golden State team, I understand, but they bring in a piece like Jimmy Butler, and I mean that's a hell of a 1-2 punch right there. And they got it down. Houston got down 3 very late. Cut the 23-point lead to 3, but I mean it was pretty much Golden State gate to wire.
Yeah, I agree with you. In
the Pistons is the one, Charlie, where they had a really good. They're an upstart team, and they didn't show any signs of the stage and the postseason style of play being so different to them. And then all of a sudden, it hit them like a ton of bricks. I mean, you can't let your opponent go on a 21-0 run. I mean, 21-0?
No.
I mean, what 4 or 5 minute span decides the whole game. I mean, for so much longer period, they look so good and just completely fell apart.
Right. Though that's a team that's probably a year away from being in a position to advance. But in the West, the Nuggets or the Clippers, whoever comes out of that series, I give them a fighting chance, okay, to make the conference finals. I would say that their chance would be double that of any team in the East outside of the Celtics and Cavs. Like, I don't think that the Magic or the Pistons or the Pacers or the Knicks can beat Boston or Cleveland. I think in the right series, I think the Clippers or the Nuggets could beat just about anybody in the West.
Yes.
I mean, it's got to fall right for them. But if things went their way, if they got hot, they could.
Clippers
get there.
played a great game, and it's just. I mean, Denver's got a guy named Nikola Jokic, and I mean, he's as good as it gets. And you know who came through? And I criticize him, but he made the winning plays without a stretch. Was Westbrook?
Russell Westbrook.
Yes, indeed. You have to be fair. And I mean, so much of his numbers are statistically generated that don't really add up to making impacts on W's and L's. And oh no, it was a big corner 3 at the end of regulation and a big steal. Big offensive rebound. No, some winning plays by Westbrook down the stretch. And Joker's got to get something from his supporting cast. And down the stretch he did from Westbrook.
How big do you remember the series price on the Lakers Timberwolves?
Like 175.
Okay.
Maybe almost 2-1 Lakers.
And while I'm watching that series, I went back and looked a little bit. Why are they such a big favorite? Is this brand because these teams had the same record in
Lakers
the regular
are a
season?
public team.
Yeah, perfect. That's a
Always
reasonable
have been.
explanation because
You don't see when and Joker. I mean,
Sure.
How is the Luka trade being perceived?
well they gave.
I mean, everybody. They're booing. They're returning tickets. Dallas is rioting, protesting. I mean, and Lakers are throwing a parade.
Well, they gave Rob Pelinka Executive of the Year already for that trade.
Well, that's
So,
he
yes.
gets Executive of the Year, and they're going to be bounced in the first round. Can we stop the parade on Pelinka's Coach of the Year award too?
on
JJ
Redick.
Redick. I mean, we're ready to. I mean, 4 games in, they were saying, "Oh man, JJ Redick's getting a lot of credit for what?"
And the Lakers may win the series. I don't know, but if the Timberwolves win it, I'm not going to consider this a huge upset by any stretch.
I long term, you bring in a younger player, and you got a piece that you got a chance. He's a superstar, at least on the offensive end. And can he? There's a chance that Luka, you could put the right pieces around him to make a run. Short term, I think Anthony Davis is a better partner of LeBron this deep in his career. I said that at the time of the trade, but one game doesn't end the series. They're going to have to got to win one in Minneapolis, St. Paul. So, and just the way they got hammered. Now, Minnesota got hot, too, but they just hammered them. I mean, beat them, just embarrassed them. And Lakers can come back, but they're far. This premature. Lakers are a public team, and, I mean, it's more than just they're going to bet them. I mean, they just and they were home court. They had home court advantage, too, Charlie. So,
right.
But Golden State was the one that was on the road, did not have home court advantage, and still $1.75 in the series.
2 games tonight. There'll be 2 and 3 games staggered throughout the week. 3 games tomorrow night. We'll be at this for about a month and a half on the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, man. Talking about my friends over at Los Reyes Mexican Grill for the. I mean, get on over and get the tacos, the fajitas, the burritos, the quesadillas, great margaritas on the Lee location. Again, it is 7 days a week, happy hour, 2:30 to 6:30. Great staff over at Los Reyes. Great place looks great. It's great options to have inside and outdoor dining options, and you got the whole team in for the tournament ball right down the street. Hey, you call ahead of time, we'll have the table ready for you for 12, 14, 20, whatever it is, for your whole team in their group. And man, and when you get that the ticket, you don't get that sticker price, that sticker shock as well. Los Reyes Mexican Grill. Go see Scott and Kyle over at Los Reyes on Lee, just off of Nicholson, across from Mike Anderson's.
Live at Big Mike's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Patriots Day up in Boston. The Red Sox got underway early this morning. They lead the White Sox 4-1 in the 7th. Jimmy, you got a chance to see a little bit of Dylan Cruz this weekend. We were talking last week. He had gotten off to a really, really rough start through the first 13 games of the season. He was just barely over 100. But in the last, he's got a 6-game hitting streak going now, hitting close to 350. In those games, 348 in the hitting streak. He's also homered for the first 2 times this year, and I think you said it was
same game on Saturday against Chase Dollander, the former Tennessee star. But Charlie, Thursday when we were watching him over at Walk-Ons, he was hitting the ball more sharply. And one thing about it, even his ground balls, I mean, he is busting it down to first base and barely getting him. And it was a base running play that kind of when you're struggling at the plate. It's a play that doesn't show up in the box score, but first of all, Dollander was a little dribbler, and because of his speed, Dollander kind of screwed up the play. It was a routine play. It was an ugly play by the Colorado in the field. So he reaches, but it's 1st and 3rd with nobody out, and so Balls hit the shortstop. Okay, it looks like it's going to be 6-4-3 double play. And Cruz is flying and beats the second baseman covering the bag. So they get nobody out. So, I mean, that play, and then they get the 2-out, 3-run jack by James Wood, the phenom who went oppo for it. So instead of scoring 1, maybe 2 runs, you score 5 runs in the top of the inning, which was a big play. Both of his home runs were oppo. So he hit his first and second home runs, both in the same game on Saturday. They held on to win 12-11, but it's things that he's, when your bat is slumping, what can you do? Can you, when they always bring up the kid Jackson Holiday for Baltimore, and one thing you watch him, even when his bat was slumping, man, he was really, really impressive, in the middle infield. Shortstop or second base, a lot of second base. And Cruz, in center field, you only have so many plays, but, man, on the bases, Charlie, he is making a difference. And I mean, how often do you see that? I mean, that's Major League Baseball, 6-4 throw. No, he's there before he can even beat it, and it was a big difference in that inning. So he can fly. I mean, some very routine plays that when he does hit the ball on the ground in the infield, they are barely getting him. So he's maybe showing before the numbers and before, this weekend, this 4-game set, you could see at least he was hitting the ball sharply. His best weekend of this season by far, because he was very close to being sent down. That may be on delay. Davey Martinez's team, remember Martinez came over, and that was a big deal to manage Washington. He was highly coveted, and they've been patient with him through this rebuild. And his team is much improved. And Cruz is going to be one of those X factors for them, just how improved they'll be.
Sometimes that'll get you out of it. You get a little dribbler that will find, find some grass or whatever.
He's not getting cheap hits.
Okay. But sometimes they get you out of it when you do get one.
Yeah,
it opens up the floodgates a little bit. It's
been more just kind of, okay, he hit that ball sharply.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's just – He doesn't look as fooled as he did on some of the when you have a streak like this to start the season. Some of them were really bad. It hasn't been that way.
Paul Skeens pitched well, but took the loss on Saturday against Cleveland. 7 innings, 2 runs, but the Pirates don't score. They lose that game 3-0. Skeens in his 5 starts now, the Pirates have lost 3 of them, even though he's only pitched poorly in 1 game this season. 23 strikeouts and 2 walks. 23 strikeouts and 2 walks.
and you kind of, I hate to say it, but, as far as the big market teams, and we're not the biggest fans of the lopsided payrolls in Major League Baseball with no salary cap. But, man, you're watching them first and third, nobody out, they don't score. Just this type of thing, it just kind of – it kind of has the writing on the wall, man. This guy's going to be there at the minimum, and then he's going to go on with somebody that can be competitive, because this Pirates team shows me no signs of being a player anytime soon. He doesn't get killed, though, because he makes up ground because his competition, it's early in the National League Cy Young, but Hunter Green had his worst outing by far. It was bombs away in Baltimore. I mean, they really got him. He didn't get that run support for 24 runs yesterday. So the Saturday game, and he had been really dominant. It was not the case. He got roughed up pretty good. Steen's currently right now at the Queen, the DraftKings outlet, plus 260 ahead of Yamamoto. And then Hunter Green is third choice at plus 450.
We're brought to you in part by Total Maintenance. It's time to get the air conditioner checked. Of course, before it gets to where it is just unbearably hot. AC and heating, generators, electricity, plumbing, Total Maintenance. Your one-stop sales shop in both Baton Rouge and New Orleans. South Louisiana, one of their oldest and largest AC and heating companies since 1980. Service today, every day. That's the slogan, so nobody goes to sleep uncomfortable. Both authorized dealer for Carrier and American Standard, Daykin and Rheem AC units, Generac and Cummins generators for all your electrical and plumbing needs as well. In Baton Rouge, 480-1000. In New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance.
Live At Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Back here at Big Mike's on Aspen Square here in Denham Springs. Come on out and see us for lunch and live music this weekend. The Honky Tonk Playboys on Saturday night. They do trivia on Monday nights here. They do line dancing on Wednesdays, and one of the best happy hours anywhere. $2.50 beer, draft, and bottles from 3 to 7 Monday through Friday, all day on Sunday. You come out and watch the games here at Big Mike's. So we invite you to come out and see us here. It's always a good time and always something going on here at Big Mike's. Just 3 days away from the NFL draft. This little piece of intel coming out this morning. This is from Adam Schefter. Says that the New Orleans Saints, boy, these draft picks just got to be burning a hole in Mickey Loomis's pocket, huh? That the Saints are interested in trading up in the second round because I'll read this to you verbatim so I don't screw it up. Believe around the league that the Saints are more interested in using a high pick on an offensive or defensive lineman in the first round. That's great news. I would love that. That's fantastic. A personnel executive says, I don't think New Orleans is taking Shedeur Sanders. I think they're hot and heavy on Jackson Dart. So Jackson Dart presents a little bit of a dilemma because I don't know of anybody that thinks he's going as high as 9. He's going to go in the top 10. But he's also not likely to be around by the time the Saints pick at number 40 in the second round. I think Jackson Dart is probably going to go in the latter stages of the first round. I don't know how you feel about that, but I think that he probably gets into the 20s somewhere.
So the odds tell you, because under 2.5 is coming back at like plus 250. So yeah, the odds are telling you that.
Yeah, and how would you feel about them taking him at the beginning of the second round or trading back into the first round to get him?
I feel a lot better at second round. I've always had questions about Jackson Dart. And, just he's been put in a very quarterback-friendly system. Not to repeat myself, but we can't deny that. And, how many of those Lane Kiffin quarterbacks have gone on to do anything? Matt Corral was coming out.
There was a lot of hype around him.
I mean, was it that much different than what we're talking about Jackson Dart right now? Not terrible.
Not terrible. Not overwhelmingly.
I mean, even when one of his better games, the first 3 quarters. I mean, he just threw it back up in the fourth quarter at Florida. Again, they have to have. For team accomplishments. I thought he played poorly at LSU. He had some guys wide open he overthrew. It took him forever to kind of get going. So what is he? And keep in mind how many cream puffs they had. Nobody non-conference. Embarrassment. Right. Okay, and how did he play against Kentucky? And the biggest stain on their resume, trying to get. That was a roster not only could get into the playoff, but could have done some damage.
How much of this is, and I understand it amongst the fan base, and I hope that the team doesn't, feel pressure. That is, they just want to have something to believe in, and they don't believe in Derek Carr if he ever plays another game in a Saints uniform. I'll be surprised.
100%.
And the other two, Hayner and Rattler, I don't think either one of them is a long-term starting quarterback in the league. So whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart or Shug or any of these, they just want to, hey, give me – and my thing is I want something to believe in too. I just want to believe with a lower draft pick because I don't know if any of these guys are worth a first-round pick. There's some teams in the league that don't have a first-round grade on any of these quarterbacks except for Cam Ward. I just prefer to take a shot maybe in the third or fourth round with somebody like Kyle McCord. But they just want, hey, it's not about Jackson Dart. It's not about Shedeur. It's about, give me something to hope for. How much of it is that?
Well, generally speaking, it's twofold because generally speaking, fan bases aren't getting excited about interior linemen. Okay?
No.
They get excited about, A
It's like
quarter.
buying insurance. You got to have it, but nobody's excited to pay for it.
You get excited about well, that's the way you build a team, too. And,
Yes.
I would have to think that, the Eagles kind of built their team from the interior out. And they that would be a nice path, approach to mimic. But this with the Saints, they're going to, any fan base is going to get excited about a skill position player. And the Saints, they despise their quarterback. I mean, who is a more hated quarterback than Derek Carr in the history of the Saints? Aaron Brooks went through some times when, with his body language, with that kind of like give up on a play when the ball's, I think it was in San Diego one play, and he gave him enough. Man, they didn't. I know it may be because we're in a social media era, so we can see all of the nonsense and all of the protests and burning of his jersey and all these other things that they do. But, I mean, they absolutely despise this guy, man.
They do. And there's been nothing real positive to come out. Maybe the Dallas game is about the career highlight for Carr with the Saints. I hated Aaron Brooks at the end. Because he appeared to just not care. When a guy is throwing interceptions or fumbling and laughing about it, that rubs me the wrong way. You could just look, and he did not give a flip. But Aaron Brooks was the quarterback when the Saints won their first playoff game. I was 30 years old, before I saw the Saints win a playoff game. I followed the team my whole life. I was 30 years old before I saw it, and Aaron Brooks was the quarterback that day. I mean, it was an emotional type game because of all the time I spent growing up, going to games with my uncle and everything. He's like, hey, Uncle Alec, we finally won a doggone playoff game, and Aaron Brooks was the quarterback. I can't dismiss that, but at the end, I couldn't stand him. I don't have anything with Derek Carr to hang my hat on.
If you were 30, what the hell do you think I was?
Older.
When it first.
Older.
Okay. I mean, Mr. Bear the Cross here on Holy Weekend.
Yes,
I was 30. The guy sitting right next to you.
5 years older.
5 years older.
So I can't hate Aaron Brooks completely. I just hated his attitude at the end.
The body language and its expressions, which had nothing to do with the play, but just it's not what you want out of your position of leadership. There's no doubt. They're hoping, and they're done. They're fed up with Derek Carr, and they want to move on. But I don't think it's happening either. And the lazy national part of it is, well, they tie the two. And everybody's looking for news. And who but the Saints come out with this injury information about Derek Carr. When did it happen? Did it happen? Is he faking it? I mean, a whole circus act around this thing. And people, just connect the dots lazily. And you saw some of the betting action follow it up as well. Oh, all of a sudden, Shedeur Sanders is, over under his 8.5. He's even money to go the Saints to pick. So, and that's calming down a little bit. I think he's up to plus 175 to be picked by the Saints. So, no, I don't think it's happening either. So,
Jeff Duncan did an exercise this weekend. I thought this was really interesting to me when it comes to the draft. He used Pro Football Reference's approximate value to gauge the draft pick's value. A starter in the NFL would be an average value of 8 to 11. A Pro Bowl caliber would be 12 to 20, and anything below 7 would be a below-average starter in the league. Of the picks in the last 10 years, this blew me away. The average value of the pick, the Saints had the second highest average value per pick, telling you that they have gotten production out of the guys that they have picked. But there's two big, what I would say, asterisks on the side of this, because I just don't believe the Saints have drafted that well. Number one, they're getting a lot of juice out of guys that did not have a lot of their success with the Saints. Guys like Zach Bond, you get credit for an All-Pro there. Well, he wasn't an All-Pro with the Saints. Trey Hendrickson, you don't get credit.
You don't get credit for Zach Bond.
Alex Anzalone. So some of these guys went on to great success, but not necessarily with the Saints.
Throw that away, then. I mean, that's terrible.
But I want to make the point, though, that the Ravens are third from last in this thing, okay? And you know what I think of the Baltimore Ravens.
yeah.
I think
They're such a poorly run organization.
The Ravens in the last 10 years have a lesser value than the Saints by a lot, but they've made 29 more picks over the 10 years. So the Ravens have the most Pro Bowl, most All-Pro guys out of the last 10 years. They've drafted 14 of them, okay? You give yourself more shots at this thing, and you're going to have a better chance. You're almost drafting 3 more guys a year in Baltimore than you are in New Orleans. I mean, you leave yourself.
Who's a better run organization in the league than the Ravens?
The only one I would come that I put on par with it is Pittsburgh. And I think Baltimore. The Ravens are number one for me. Okay,
Yeah.
I put the Steelers. It's somewhere in that.
When's the last time they won a playoff game?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, there's been a lot of teams win playoff games in this stretch.
Yeah. When I think of the best run organizations, I think of Baltimore first. Kansas City is at the top of this list. Now Mahomes makes up for a lot of mistakes. Okay.
Well, New England, but Brady, the same thing with Brady. I mean, New England was okay. They were but that was Brady and Belichick too. But I mean, okay, the Ravens have done it with multiple quarterbacks. For a long period of time.
Yeah, so they have
Trent Dilfer, then Flacco, then Lamar. I mean, who am I missing in there as far as getting playoff win seasons?
In between Dilfer and
Flacco?
In between Dilfer and Flacco, they went through a stretch there. Steve McNair was a quarterback there for, I think, 2 seasons. Kyle Bowler, I think, was a starter there for a short period of time. So
they weren't good when he was there.
There was a little bit of a gap in between the Dilfer and the Flacco thing. The Ravens, by the way, over the last 10 years are 164, 3-6 in the playoffs. The Saints, 93-71. Now, a lot of this is the Drew Brees era, 3-4 in the playoffs. Saints are 30-38 without Brees. The Ravens 26-27 the last 10 years in games that Lamar Jackson did not start. So both of them on the strength of elite quarterback in play have had strong records over the last 10 years. But it's this how many I said to Jordan during the break, we were talking about these draft picks just burned a hole in Mickey Loomis's pocket. He's got an extra 3 and an extra 4, and probably can't wait to get rid of them. That's just how they are. And
how much Peyton was running this? It was overruling Loomis for a long stretch,
and that's a good point because Denver is rumored to be looking to trade up.
I mean, it's beating up Mickey Loomis' season as it should be, but can we put for being giving up those picks and never moving down? I mean, that wasn't. That's more Sean Payton than Mickey Loomis, Charlie. He was part of it, but I can't put that on Loomis.
No, a lot of those things were. Certainly the Mark Ingram trade was all Sean Payton.
All those move-ups, all of them.
I can't tell you you're wrong because I wasn't in the draft room.
Who do you think carries more weight at that decision table? Okay, this is our guy. You've got to move up give up another middle-round pick to move up 10 spots to get him. How many times did they do that? Over and over and over and over. And Sean Payton, did he show us with his personnel movements or game day challenges or game day management? Impulsive would probably be a fair term, to describe him as.
Sure.
And I'm sorry, I'm not letting the bean counter override me to build my team.
No, and while we have to give a lot of that, on Sean Payton for moving up, I do have to tell you that since he left, these drafts have been pretty bad. The last 4 drafts, they are not getting a whole lot. Fuaga looks like a good pick. Olave, if he can stay on the field, but you look at the rest of the last 4 years of the Saints draft, it ain't real good. I mean, there's a lot of misses in there, a lot of misses.
So how do they get Zach Bond credit?
He's
a little better with a little better supporting cast around him, huh?
I would.
You think that defensive front keeping him a little cleaner than the Saints did?
Well, he couldn't get on the field in New Orleans. How would we know? I mean, he played on special teams mostly. He caught a little bit of time, but certainly not the type of playing time in Philadelphia. The last 3 drafts, man, once you get past the first pick, it's been pretty pretty bleak the last 3 or 4 years for New Orleans.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Don't forget our friends at Total Diamond Performance. Total Diamond Performance. It's that tournament. It's the tournament time, tournament season, and you got that youth league player that is involved, and you just want that little extra edge. I mean, that you got to worry about burnout. But look, if they want to get in the cage a little bit more, they want to try and tune up their pitching, their fielding, their hitting. Hey, no problem. No problem. So the great way to book a lesson to Total Diamond Performance, go to their website at TotalDiamondPerformance.com, and so you can click in. You can register online. Our great got so many different of instruction. Matt Mastretta, Nick Schneider. I mean, we do 45-minute sessions, private or small group. If you got a group of guys from your team, or just want to do individual lessons, team lessons as well. You can do 2-on-1, 3-on-1, 1-on-1, private and small group baseball instructions with both Matt Mastretta and Nick Schneider. Go to tdpbaseball.com, tdpbaseball.com for more information. But it's tournament season, and your youth baseball player wants that extra work to sharpen his skills. Go to tdpbaseball.com.
Live at Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Transfer portal closes tomorrow for the for this
football, basketball, everything.
Yeah. It appears as if Tennessee may have found a quarterback. If
sure,
it
should.
Guess who it is?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, this is just funny because they are in the running for a player who's going to put himself into the transfer portal, but before tomorrow.
Tell me this, boy. Duke scooped up on a lot of these teams. Wouldn't Tennessee like to have the kid from Tulane?
Yes. Yeah, I would think
well,
so.
Duke shouldn't be beating out Tennessee for a quarterback.
Well, he could transfer out of Duke and go there. You can transfer you can put yourself in the transfer portal in December and then come back and put yourself in the transfer portal again in the spring. You know how I know this? Because this kid, Joey Aguilar, who was the starting quarterback last year for Appalachian State, okay, put himself in the transfer portal in December and decided to enroll at, wait for it, UCLA.
Oh, and now he's going to Tennessee?
Now it looks like he's headed to Tennessee.
Yeah, I'll be.
I mean, did the UCLA have to throw in a draft choice or what? I mean, this is a straight one for one swap. It seems like.
No, well, neither are very overly impressive. I mean, it's a position of development. Both of them could get better, but I didn't see a ton by either one of those guys. I saw a lot by the kid from Tulane.
Yeah, Aguilar was not supposed to be Appalachian State's starting quarterback. He was the backup, but the starter went down season-ending injury in week 1, so he played the whole season. He completed 55% of his passes.
What's the record this year?
App State, they were – I'll catch it for you in a second. He threw 14 interceptions. They were 5-6 last year.
The worst record in a long time.
Yeah, and his numbers weren't particularly good. Like I say, he completed 56% of his passes, 23 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. That seems like a lot. He didn't run very much either. But is this a first? A kid puts himself in the transfer portal in December and puts himself back in the transfer portal in April? Have we seen that yet? It seems like
I don't know. I can't think of anybody. It's happened, but I mean, I just can't believe Duke outfoxed Tennessee for a starting quarterback. Well, that just shouldn't happen.
No, at the time, though, Tennessee didn't think they needed a starting quarterback, right?
Well, I mean, you tell me. I mean, he was threatening before the playoff game, right? They didn't know they had problems.
That's true.
They didn't know they had problems in.
We didn't know it, but yes, you're exactly right. They absolutely had to know that they were.
And so, say if Nico was a perfect perfect teammate.
Which he wasn't.
Who you think has a brighter forward? You know, the Mensa for Tulane or Nico?
As a college quarterback, I like Mensa a lot better. Just for comparison's sake, he completed 66% of his passes, 22 touchdowns, and 6 picks. Now, as a pro prospect, Mensa doesn't have the physical traits that Nico does, but as a college quarterback, Mensa's better, in my opinion. He would help your college team win more games. Is he going to be drafted as high? No, he's not 6'6" like Nico is. But the play last year, I saw Mensa make maybe 2 bad plays. The game against Kansas State, he made a big mistake and it cost him. But the rest of the year, he was really good. I mean, they were a
You think he
team.
looks small when he plays?
He's smaller than Nico.
But, I mean, you think his lack of height, hurts him? Is a level of play?
He's not small. He's like 6'2", 6'3".
He's listed 6'3".
Okay, yeah. No, I don't think he's small. He's smaller, but no, I didn't think he was small. Mm-mm.
And I don't see where. I mean, the measurables. Okay, well, he's 6'6". I mean, so what? I mean, he can't play. I mean, this guy's so much better, man. He's so much better.
Erratic, for sure. But yeah, how do you find yourself in that position where you get this deep into the calendar year? Okay, spring football's over. You're about to get into your off-season thing, and it's like, holy crap, we don't have a quarterback.
Once upon a time, Charlie, a lot of people gave a lot more measurable guys the benefit of the doubt over a guy like an incarnate word named Cam Ward.
You're right. And
I mean, Washington State, that's a big powerhouse.
No.
Hell no.
No, they're not.
I mean, there's a lot of people that overlooked him. He's going number 1.
And I don't think his measurables are all that bad. He's also about 6'2", right?
At least, yeah.
I didn't look at Cam Ward and think of a guy that didn't have the physical traits. Now, I confess I don't remember him coming out of high school. I don't know what he looked like at that point.
Nobody did. He had one offer in Incarnate Word, and you watch Incarnate Word play because it was the same thing that kid from Zachary, Lindsey Scott.
Yeah.
Went and played for Incarnate Word 1 year or 2, and they threw it 75 times. I mean, exaggerating a little bit, but I mean, it was a bunch, they can't stop anybody, but they're going up and down the field, and they're throwing it all over the place. Cam Ward coming out of that, but didn't, what's the name came out of the kid that set all the records from Western Kentucky, right? That was playing for the New England Patriots.
Oh,
didn't he come from Incarnate Word?
I thought it was for Houston Baptist, maybe, but I know who you're talking. I think it was Houston Baptist.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
It might have been. I don't know. I mean, the one common thing that Mensa and Nico have, they're both from the state of California. Well, these California quarterbacks they go everywhere. We saw a little bit. We got a little taste of this certainly in Baton Rouge and Knoxville as well with the Clausens, and they started watching those prime-time SEC games. Well, the exposure and the money that they have advantage in the quality of living with your eligibility. I mean, you got Tua coming from Hawaii, going right straight through the Pacific time zone to go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So, there's a lot of them, but it's
unless you got a pretty good quarterback out of California recently. Jaden Daniels from California.
Yes, he's a California kid as well. Sure.
So when he decided he wanted to transfer, that
Bryce
helped.
Young, California.
Yeah, he was a lot of guys come out of there. We're brought to you today by the Thibodaux Store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. Cajun cooking specialty cookware shipped right to your door. Tons of grills. The Big Green Egg cookers are also available with all of the accessories from the Thibodaux Store. And right now, if you're continuing your lawn maintenance, your garden, any of your flower beds, all of your hoses are on special right now on the website. It's doitbest.com/Thibodaux Store. Patio furniture, all of your potting soils, all of your cedars are on special right now. The Jonathan Green lawn care is on special right now. All of your potting and your topsoils, bales, your seeders, your spreaders, your outdoor power equipment, grass and weed control, all of it on special right now on the website at doitbest.com/Thibodeau store. In-house key cutting, paint matching, propane services, screen and glass repair. If you need lumber delivered that comes out of their sister property at the Pierre Port store in Pierre Port, and lots of fishing gear if you're headed down to the coast doing some fishing down at the Thibodeau store. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau. And again, online, it's doitbest.com/Thibodeau.
What you have too, Charlie, man, it's like for crawfish season and tail end, you've got all kinds of range of different size boilers and, the pots and strainers and things like that. They got the ones with the nozzle at the bottom to drain them easier instead of trying to pick that whole pot up. You even have high-performance cookers that will get you to a boil in 7 minutes. So they heat up quicker. I mean, you talk about everything. It is such a wide range of all of the boiling things that you need for not just crawfish and any type of boil, to oilless turkey fryers, to outdoor burners and cookers and cookware, cast iron cookware, jambalaya pots, burners. You talk about a outdoor cook chef's haven. A little slice of heaven with the Thibodeau store and the Pierre Port store.
Live at Big Mike's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Big Mike's, live at lunch, just a couple of days away from the NFL draft on Thursday night. We'll be doing our annual draft party at Don Juan's again this year on Thursday night. So always a lot of fun to get on out and do that live broadcast. So, the one time of the year that the whole staff is kind of there in one spot, and we've had a good time doing that draft party. And this year, Jimmy, I don't know if it's just because nothing has really happened so far. This has been the first time in 30 years that there's been no pre-draft movement up to this point, this close to the draft. Yeah, you got to go all the way back to the year that Joe Montana got traded to the Kansas City Chiefs to find a year with less movement in the order up at the top of the draft. The odds are not moving around a whole lot. What we talked about last week, these odds are holding steady. Cam Ward is the overwhelming choice, on the verge of being taken off the board to be the first pick. Travis Hunter is a massive choice to be the second pick. Abdul Carter, massive choice to be the third pick. Will Campbell, a strong favorite to be the fourth pick. Mason Graham, strong favorite to be the fifth pick. And we're seeing a lot of talk about Shadur Sanders, but it's not shaking up really very much of the odds. Outside of him, I don't know that there's that one player that everybody is trying to move up to get. It's just been it's almost eerily quiet this close to the draft. I don't know quite what to make of that. If that means it's going to be an explosion on Thursday night and there's going to be a whole flurry of moves that people are just waiting on, or if this is for once in our lives, the draft's going to go exactly like the odds and the mocks think that they are. It never happens that way, but maybe this is the year. I don't know.
It was a couple years ago. Hutchinson is from
Michigan.
Detroit. Yeah. It was 2 drafts ago he came out.
2 or 3 drafts ago, yeah.
I think he just finished his second year.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was when we woke up on a Monday morning this week, he was the odds-on favorite, and it's like today or tomorrow it really started to flip to the
22 draft. The 22
okay,
draft.
3 years ago, to Carter from the defensive lineman from Georgia. And they took him. Did Jacksonville. Detroit got the better player a little bit later. But we're still got a little time. I mean, it was on the way to one of our draft parties where you were getting the, hey, don't be surprised if they take Manziel first. So there's been some I'm sorry, with the Mayfield, Baker Mayfield.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, to go first. So it's give it time. Give it time.
I agree. I can't imagine that everybody's gonna just sit there. That was the 2018 draft with Mayfield, where up until the day before, it looked like it might be Sam Darnold that year, right? Mm-hmm. He was going to be the first pick off the board, and there were and Saquon Barkley was the second pick that year. And down, who got the best? Who got the best player in that draft? Josh Allen went to the Bills. And that was down at the 7th spot.
Is it just because it's been 6-7 years since they've allowed the draft to be booked outside, sports gambling outside the state of Nevada, where the digital sites are way more aggressive in providing odds options, betting options for the draft, as opposed to Nevada, and that you see a lot of people paying attention to it more, and they've gotten burned on some being late with gathering some of the information in an information-based, betting platform. I don't know, but I mean that the Jalen Carter thing and Hutchinson, if you didn't profit on that, it's because you just weren't paying attention, Yeah. And we've heard them cry about it a lot, but less and less. I mean, like the most respected sports books, the way they run it, the non sort of corporate driven, and that's the old school ones like the South Point and the Rampart. They don't even book it. They don't even fool with it anymore. So it's they cry about it a lot, and come on, man, you can limit it enough to where you don't get burned too bad, but It's a headache. It's a headache because they just can't keep up. No matter how big your staff is, it's not as big as the betting public out there. And so they just got more. They got more people following every little piece of information a lot more.
And the other thing is that somebody somewhere knows for sure. Okay, if you know somebody, if there's loose lips in one of these front offices, mm-hmm. somebody knows for sure. And I don't know if there's not maybe if there was another quarterback that was in the mix up high, there would be more of a. I guess more of a rush to maybe make a move.
Shador was going to be, but it sure hasn't. That's a movement, Charlie. We're talking about Shador was. I mean, we're talking about the tail end of the season. Oh, they're tanking for Shador.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at this point, I would be surprised if he went in the top 10. Either at 9 to the Saints or if somebody would trade up to get into that spot. I don't know if he gets all the way to Pittsburgh or somebody else would trade up into the teens somewhere to get him. But if I had to set an over-under on Shador Sanders right now, it would probably be in the late teens. It would probably be somewhere around 18 or 19. Because I think
it's been pretty steady at 8.5. Huh?
Yeah, and I think he's going well after that. Now the Saints could throw a curveball here, but there's more and more. Maybe it just seems like that, okay? Because the Saints themselves obviously aren't saying anything. He is still favored to be the 9th overall pick by a pretty good margin. Right now, the most likely Saints. Shador, according to the odds, Shador Sanders is plus 210, Jackson Dart is plus 600, Shamar Stewart is plus 800, and so is Tyler Warren. And of those,
Tyler Warren is what?
Plus 800.
That would be my. It's a chance he's going to be there at 9.
If you give
if he gets to 9, you better take him.
That's who I would take. I can make a case for one of the Georgia kids. I can make a case for Will Johnson, but Warren to me is I don't know how many more games it helps you win next year, but he's a unique player. He's a matchup problem. He's one of I think he's the only guy in this draft that does what he does. I know that they like Cortland Loveland as a tight end in the first round, but I don't think he's nearly as good of a player as Tyler Warren is. But if they took an offensive or defensive lineman, I'd be okay with that. I'm not wild about Shamar Stewart because no production. I mean, if you're going to be a first-round pick, you had to have done more than 4.5 sacks in 3 years. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, and maybe maybe he blossoms at the next level, but, they've taken guys like that before. They took Davenport. They took Peyton Turner. It's like, oh, look at the measurables on these guys. Well, I'm sorry. Somewhere along the line, you got to be a good football player too. You can't just be a workout warrior. Sometimes, guys blossom at the next level, but man, if you didn't do it at the college level, I got a hard time believing it just all of a sudden you're going to just explode. Now, it does happen, occasionally. And we saw firsthand, with Daniil Hunter, okay? Daniil Hunter looked great, okay? I mean, he wasn't a physical specimen, but at LSU he was not a productive guy. Did not make very many plays, but he's been a very productive pro. So I'm not saying it can't happen. But I'd rather
That's a good example the other way. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather take my chances with a guy that has been a more productive.
Looking at Bet Rivers over under on Shedeur Sanders. I mean, Charlie, that thing was pretty much at 8.5. It was kind of a flip of the coin. Now it's minus 375 to the over.
Yeah.
So that is really that is a significant shift to. I don't think he's going that high.
The one team
that is a big shift.
Besides New Orleans, it would be the Giants, and there are some people that are saying don't completely rule out the Giants. They spent a lot of time in Colorado scouting him. Maybe that would be a situation where he would go there, but I would take him a lot more likely to be in the teens than I would for him to be.
That's what the odds are telling you.
Yeah, and those things can change in a hurry now. We
very much so.
That happens
very much so
from time to time. But
I don't even see New Orleans team odds right now. You found that?
Yeah, Sanders is plus 210. Dart is plus 600. Stewart and Warren are plus 800. Mikael Williams from Georgia is plus 1,000. Will Johnson from Michigan plus 1,200. And Ashton Genty at plus 1,500, though I don't think that Genty will still be on the board. I think most people think he's headed to Las Vegas, that Pete Carroll will take him.
Well, yeah, I'm not so sure about that either.
No,
I'm talking about that. I would question a pick. I know the odds are saying it's overwhelmingly, being bet right now to go number 6.
There's a great stat on him. He had over 1,600 yards at Boise State after contact, and they look at him as he's going to be Pete Carroll's new Marshawn Lynch. This bruising.
You think he's as big as Lynch?
I don't.
No, he's not.
He's not. But he's
extremely
a very
physical.
He's a physical runner, but he's not as big as Lynch was. No.
No, I mean it's.
I like him as a player. I think he'll be a really good pro. But I don't think he gets to New Orleans at number 9, and I don't think the Saints are in a position where they should take a running back, even if he did get to him.
Would he have that type of yards after contact if he was playing in the SEC?
Not that many, no.
No. But my eyes tell me, man, he's hard to bring down.
He's a very, very physical, very good running back. I would love to have him on my team.
What is his size compared to Lynch's size?
Lynch played at about, I would say, without looking, Lynch played at somewhere around 235 pounds. Does that sound about right?
No, he's kind of a bigger guy.
I would say that. Let me see what Genty is listed at. Exactly, but I don't think he's 235 pounds. Did he look like he played at 235 pounds to you?
No.
Let me see what they have Ashton Genty listed at 212, and he's a little bit shorter. I think he's 5'9", 212 is what I see him. Listed.
Yeah,
at.
because I mean
Now Lynch I thought got bigger later in his career. I don't think he came out of Cal at 235. I think he was a little bit smaller than that coming out.
He lists him at 215.
215.
Lynch. I mean,
215. I thought he played higher.
No, he played
at the end of his career. Certainly, I thought he played.
Another one here. I'm trying to, but Charles, that to me is more of a 215. They list him at. God,
I thought he was bigger than that.
Hey, no doubt.
Maybe I just got that damn playoff game against the Saints in my head.
Well, he played bigger than 215 on that day.
Beastquake. Oh God, that was a frustrating play to watch.
But the Saints, that team was not going to make a run.
They weren't. They
Nuh-uh.
weren't.
You know, the one that lost, obviously, the Rams, no call.
They should
the
have
one
been
at
home,
San
but-
Francisco and at Minnesota, you get a chance to get to the Super Bowl.
That's-
You're going to get to the Super Bowl if you host the Giants at home when they beat San Francisco. And it would have been a pick 'em, maybe a slight favorite at Philadelphia. Remember, Philadelphia is still trying to figure out their quarterback. They were not exactly overly impressive against the Falcons. Maybe you needed Jalen Mills to break up that last-minute touchdown.
Two things aggravated me about that game. One, that the Saints were on the road because that Seattle team had a losing record but won their division. And then the second thing was that the Saints ran out of running backs in that game, and Sean Payton decided he had to trade back into the first round.
That aggravated you?
It did.
The approach to the next draft?
It did. It did. I may have mentioned that somewhere over the years. And Ingram turned out to be a good player. But
Ingram was fine. It was, but the cost gave him no chance to please draft analysts. Don't forget our friends over at Dana Brown, the law office. It's O.C. Brown, personal injury, criminal defense, DWI, estate planning. Our great team of attorneys: Dana Brown, Susan Brown, Chris Perrett, David Connican. All areas of law. Take advantage of that initial consultation. It is free. It is free. So the attorneys at the law offices of O.C. Brown, skilled in several practice areas, ready to discuss your case. Contact us today to schedule your free consultation. You can contact us at 343-1111 or go to the website at ocbrown.com and you can schedule your initial consultation online as well. Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, our law firm for a lifetime, 343-1111 and ocbrown.com.
Live at Big Mike's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Two of the games that were among the most competitive this weekend resumed
the
in
two
series
most.
tonight. Nuggets and Clippers, and Knicks and Pistons. Knicks a 6.5-point choice at the Garden, and the Nuggets are actually a 1.5-point underdog at home to the Clippers. Anything catch your attention?
I kind of like the Clippers in that game. It might be a little bit overreaction, but had them. Boy, you won on a meaningless three at the end of overtime, but they certainly had their chances. I don't know if Westbrook can duplicate what his performance in Game 1, but these are clearly the best two games that we had. I mean, keep in mind, the Pistons were up 8 in the fourth quarter at New York. I mean, they were looking so good in a 21-0 run. I mean, that was just unbelievable. All right, you can do it. I don't ever remember a 21-0 postseason run. And it's full of runs in the NBA. I get it, but 21-0 to completely flip that game. And the Clippers Nuggets again. These are the most compelling games that we had for the weekend because there weren't many. This was about it. A little bit last night. Got it down from 23 down to 3, but that's as close as the Rockets got at home against the Warriors.
Thanks to our friends here at Big Mike's for being our host. Always something going on at Big Mike's. Happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 until 7 p.m. and all day on Sunday starting at 11 a.m. Honky Tonk Playboys in this weekend on Saturday. They start at 8 p.m. Trivia on Monday nights, line dancing on Wednesday nights, and always a terrific meal here at Big Mike's. Great place to watch the games. Invite you to come on out here on Aspen Square in Denham Springs. For Jordan back in the studio, for Jimmy Ott, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Taylor Sharp, stepping in for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.